Kia ora, g'day, welcome back here with another Q&A. This time, well, this one's come from a person. I won't read out their handle because I think it may be the person's name. They've put in their question in one of my reaction videos to the selection anyway. And they've put here just a question. When you went on to selection, what were you weighing? ? I'm trying to get an idea for when I go to selection. So first, awesome for you. In terms of your prep and applying to go on selection, whether you're doing a New Zealand selection, Australian selection, I don't know, you haven't said, but wishing you all the best first and foremost. Second, in terms of what did I weigh? So again, I'm not sure which selection you're doing, you haven't said, but for the New Zealand selection, I weighed about 108 kgs. And for the Australian selection, I weighed about 98 kgs. So that's pretty much the weights that or what I was weighing, I should say. What I'd say in regards to that, though, is, obviously each person is different. Some people find it a bit easier to put good and bad weight on, and some people may struggle to cut weight, or some people, I think I've been okay with regards to being able to put weight on, both bad and good. And I've also, when I've been consistent, disciplined, etc., made better choices, I've been okay at cutting and or removing unwanted and or, dare I say, unnecessary weight as well, as those times have come about. So I suppose keeping that in mind, I don't know you personally, and I don't know what stage you're at and how your body responds to certain things and to training and eating and recovery and all that sort of stuff for you personally. But what I would say in this video is to try not to get too wrapped up in what it is that you think you should be weighing or need to weigh before you go on selection. A couple of thoughts on that. One is there's plenty of people that have been 20 to 30 kilos and more lighter than I have been, who have gone through and passed selection and passed really well. So that's the first thought that comes to mind. Second thought that comes to mind is that it's not really about your weight and how much you weigh. Yes, don't get me wrong, there are things in relation to weight that can help. For example, if you are a bigger person and you are carrying a 35 kg pack and you weigh, say, 100 kilos, well, it's much less of your body weight in comparison to somebody who's 60, 65, 70 kilos. You know what I mean? So that's pretty percentage-wise. So that's, I like to think, pretty obvious. But again, those, dare I say, smaller built individuals that have gone on and smacked selection out of the park, and they've given a great account of themselves and done really well and gone on to serve in those units and continue to do exceptionally well, you quickly learn and figure out that the weight that somebody was, or the size, or how they appear, had nothing to do with it. It was all up here. It was all in here in terms of their mind and their heart, in terms of their drive and what they wanted to do and why they were there. So if I could try to impart something that may hopefully resonate or land for you and or anybody else that might have similar thoughts. I have been asked this question. I should have mentioned that earlier. I have been asked this question a number of times. I probably, and I don't know if I've done a particular video title with that in the heading, so they probably haven't been that easy to find if people have found them at all. But don't get wrapped up in terms of what you think you should or shouldn't weigh before you go on selection. If anything, focus on your ability to be able to do the work that is going to be required for you to complete selection and hopefully give you the best possible chance to pass and to get selected to go on to further training if you're doing the New Zealand or the Australian one, rather than using somebody else's size and weight that they went on to selection at many, many years ago and then thinking that that's somehow applicable to you. I would say, in all honesty, my weight or anybody else's weight is completely irrelevant to you. Like, you do you, and just make sure that you are physically able and capable of completing all the tasks within the timeframes that are required, the necessary reps, and anything else that you may be needed or that you may need to do as far as participating on and completing and passing selection. So all your navigation stuff, all your soldiering stuff, and then obviously the physical stuff. So, excuse me. Yeah, that's what I would share about that. So hopefully that helps in some small way. And I don't know if there's any anxiety or anything like that. Maybe there is, and I think that's a healthy thing. But try not to get too worked up worrying about what weight you should be. When you went on to selection, what were you weighing? ? I'm trying to get an idea for when I go to selection. Yeah, an idea. Some people, depending on who you speak to, and I think I've shared this before as well, I think a nice balance in terms of weight-wise, knowing what I know now, is probably anywhere between 85 kilos and 95 kilos. I think that's a good weight range for an individual who's obviously fairly fit and mobile and stuff as well, to go on to selection at. You're obviously not going to come off selection if you go on selection at that weight. You'll come off a heck of a lot lighter. But I think from a strength and power and speed and endurance perspective, the weight to body weight, or the weight that you'll be carrying in comparison to your body weight ratios, all that sort of stuff, I think that's probably a good space to sit in, if I'm being honest personally. But again, like I said at the start, it doesn't really matter. If your drive is there and mentally you're there and your heart is in it for the right reasons to want to get there and serve in a unit like that, wouldn't matter if you're 60 kilos or 65 kilos, So anyway, that's my take. Hopefully that helps. And we'll see you on the next one.